Hey everybody, welcome to Your Music Sucks. I'm Brian Beaudoin. That is my good buddy Craig Gass. He ate Miranda's pussy on Sex and the City, and he's on Howard Stern and all that shit. Hi Craig, how are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I heard you doing a bong rip right before we started.
Yeah.
You told, you told me something crazy. I can't believe you never were a fan of George Carlin.
No.
Wow.
No, I mean I respect George Carlin. I love old school comedy. So I respect George Carlin, but growing up watching comedy, I never got into George Carlin.
So who were you guys that you got into?
Like I like Bobby Collins, I liked Eddie Murphy. Bernie Mac. I liked a lot of black comics. Richard Pryor, Sinbad.
That's
I would always
crazy
get the
because,
comic relief tapes when I was homesick.
it's crazy. Like most comics my age, was a mentor to me. He was always really supportive of me. And he actually, like when I met George when I was doing comedy for 6 months. And he said, I'd like to help you with your career. And I knew back then that I wasn't in any way prepared to be seen by anybody in fact, I remember sending him a tape once. He said, whenever you have some time, send me a video. And I sent him a VHS tape. And then I called him and said, you know what? Don't watch it. I'm going to film another one. Just don't watch it. And he would leave me messages and say, hey, Craig, it's George Carlin. Got your message. And I have your VHS tape. I have not watched it per your request. If you want me to watch it, I will, but I will wait until you send me another tape. So let me know what you want to do. But I have not watched this tape yet. I was such a fucking child in the way I interacted with George.
Yeah, but you know what though? I think a comedian 6 months in to have enough sense to say, don't watch this tape, I think says a lot, because there's a lot of comedians now 6 months in that think that tape is the greatest thing in the world, and it's not.
Well, plus I was also looking at the absolute king.
Yeah, you're also looking at a comedy god saying I want to watch your shit. Yeah,
there was George and Richard Pryor. Those were the two kings of stand-up comedy when we were growing up.
Can I tell you something? When you said George and Richard, I didn't think Pryor. I thought you were Belzer.
That's hilarious. No, it was George. And you know what's funny is I did this thing that is so cringeworthy. George did a comedy piece on this thing called Jammin' in New York, where his whole comedy shifted because of Sam Kinison. He was influenced by Sam and realized, you know what? I need to be ballsier. I need to speak out more. I need to speak my mind. I need to be less silly. And he did a piece about recycling and how the planet's going to be fine. And essentially, he just kept repeating, fuck the planet. The planet's going to be fine. We think that a couple of plastic bags are going to save the planet. And Shelley, my friend Shelley.
Yeah.
Shelley says to me,
Shelly!
Yeah, that's right. Shelley says to me, the next time you talk to George, can you tell him that I didn't appreciate his anti-recycling piece? Because she recycles. And Brian, you're not going to believe this. I'm doing comedy for less than a year at that point. I called George Carlin to relay that message to him.
Jesus Christ, that's worse than the tape thing.
I called George Carlin and I said, hey, George, my friend Shelley wanted me to pass along a message. He goes, yeah, what's that? And I go, she didn't like your anti-recycling. Like, who the fuck? Like, that's like something an audience member. That's like when an audience member comes up to you and goes, are you Brian? It's my birthday. And you're like, yeah. Can you do
my
something?
Friend's birthday. Can you just make fun of her the whole fucking time you're on stage?
It's so cringeworthy, but I called George, passed along the message, and I said, my friend Shelley wants you to know that she doesn't like your recycling thing. And George dropped a bomb on me, and he goes, well, I do recycle. And I said, you do? And he goes, yeah, it makes me feel good. And he goes, my garbage guy a couple weeks ago said, hey, George, I didn't think you did this. And I said, every little bit helps, right? And he said, you know what?
I don't know how I feel. I don't like that George Carlin didn't live the gimmick. I feel like you got to live that shit.
Well, he did go on to say that he said it's because I like contributing, I like people, and he had this whole thing about, people are I love meeting people one on one. I think people are really beautiful. And he said it's just when people start to form groups with an agenda, they can get really fucking scary. And I think about that all the time now in the age that we live in, where groups of people are just out of fucking control.
Yeah.
But George would leave me answer machine messages. This is back when answer machine messages were actually tapes.
Oh,
And
yeah?
I saved tapes. I have like all these messages that George left me, and I have a tape that I want to play. This is the last.
Where do you keep them? Where do you keep them? Where do you keep the tapes?
I kept the tapes in storage. Like originally, I it used to be like a micro cassette, so I would transfer it. Like I'd play it on a boombox and then transfer it onto a regular cassette, and then I ended up transferring a lot of the messages onto a CD. Some of them I just saved on my iPhone. But yeah, it's. I'm gonna play you this message. This was the last message I ever got from George.
I wish you had the time and the inclination to sit down with a tape recorder that is just a cassette recorder and do a bunch of impressions for me. I'm trying to collect a lot of impressions because, as you know, it's easier to do one if you hear someone else do it. And I just like them as a hobby. It's kind of like something I can do, or if I want to. And I don't use it in my act. So if you want to do a Pacino, or this guy or that guy, I saw you on that the Queens, the King of Queens, or whatever that show was. The guy, that was great. I think I might have even told you I saw you. Anyway, take care of yourself. Give me a call and make me a tape one of these days. Sit down when you think about it, just with a little tape recorder, a little simple one, a little handheld, and make me a tape with just a bunch of the people you do. Do a minute of each guy. I'd love it. It would be a great gift to me. Thanks, man. Today's my birthday, so make it a birthday gift. See ya. Bye-bye.
Damn. It was his birthday. And Brian?
Is that the birthday face? That's the birthday face that you make?
Well, I never did it. I never recorded it. And you know why? Because, and I don't know if you have anybody like this in your life, I was so intimidated by him. I knew him for so that would have been 93 when I first started up until he passed. So I knew him for 14 years. And I would only have the courage to call him like maybe once or twice a year.
When Shelley didn't like a bit.
When I would actually, because he would call me, leave me messages all the time, like, hey, if you ever need anything, if you ever need any help. And he'd even say, or if you just want me to call a comedy club, and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't want George Carlin calling teehees in Des Moines, Iowa. Hey, this is George Carlin. You should put Craig Gass on the show.
That would have been the only place I would have had him called. Every place with a stupid fucking name. Hey, George, it's Brian. Hey, do you think you can get me in at the Chuckle Bucket? Can you call the Chuckle Bucket for me? Can you call the Monkey Room for me?
He was too much of an influence on me. He was too much of a godlike figure in my life for me to have a normal conversation with him. And every once in a while, I'd feel like, and I had amazing conversations where I would just call to pick his brain about the world or about life or about things he had spoke about on stage, about religion, about government, drugs. And sometimes I would just hear his voice and I would just be like, I would just flash back to HBO specials and I'd get nervous and just say, I got to take a shit. Bye. And I'd hang up. And it was very clear to him that I was intimidated by him. And the idea of sending him something, I was going to get to it, but he died within a few months. And sadly, the last time I talked to him was to tell him, hey, I want to send you something. And I prank called him as a celebrity and said a bunch of awful shit to him. And I was really surprised that he was standoffish about it. He just kept going, yeah, okay. And I said, I go, George, it's Craig Gass. And he goes, hey, Craig, hey, listen, I'm in the doctor's office. Can I call you back? And I go, oh, I'm sorry. And that was the last time I talked to him. He was at a doctor's office.
You couldn't have him call a club? You can call him up right before he gets a colonoscopy, but you can't hey man, can you get me in fucking Chuckle Buckets? Can you get me in Teehees in Des Moines, Iowa?
Hey, call me when you get out of the doctor's office, George. I need you to call the Improv in Tempe and hook me up with at Laughs Comedy Cafe in Tucson, Arizona. Yeah. I was just intimidated by the guy, and the documentary is amazing. They touched on a lot of subjects that I was like, oh, I remember this, and it's amazing. Strongly recommend it.
I can't wait to see it. I love the history of comedy. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you've ever seen my wall, man. This is like, look, all I have is like Don Rickles and Ralph Cramden gonna punch his wife in the face, and Marx Brothers, Abbott and Costello, who's on first. The Sam Kinison Boulevard of Broken Dreams. I have that because Sam Kinison used to have that hanging up.
You know what? I actually have a collection of cassette tapes that George sent me. I remember asking him, God damn, this is another embarrassing thing. I asked if it was possible to get his albums. I said, is it possible to get, I can't find all your albums? And he goes, yeah, I'll send you a package. And he sent me a package of all of his cassettes, every cassette he's ever put out. And then a box set of the history of American comedy that went all the way back to the early 1900s. And a bunch of cassettes from a comedy team called, I want to say it was called Bob and Ray, that he was a fan of as a kid. And he said, I strongly recommend you listen to this. I think you'll get something out of it. It just will open your mind up. And he just, I don't know, man. I just found myself getting really emotional watching the documentary. And there's more about that friendship that I wanted to share with you, but the moment that I realized you never got into George, I was like, all right, I'm just going to just tell you how creepy I was, and then we're just going to leave it.
I'll watch the documentary, and then we can have a fucking, it'll be like the fucking View.
Okay, because there are some more incredible stories, including one of the most incredible things I ever learned about George that I'd like to tell you. But if you watch the documentary, it'll fit into place better. So,
all right, yeah, I'll do that. I'll watch the documentary, and then we'll have a big George Carlin cry fest.
This is a weird episode. This is Your Music Sucks. Is me.
I know. It looks like I sent you both songs this week.
I know. Brian and I, we love each other. We're best friends. We love hanging out with each other. We just don't see eye to eye when it comes to music. So every week we send each other a song. I'm usually into heavier shit. Brian's usually into jam bands. And we critique it. And this time, I have a very specific reason why I sent you this song. Both of us sent each other classic rock songs, and we didn't discuss this.
It's almost like we said, hey, send me your favorite song about Alabama.
Yeah.
Send me your favorite fucking Rebel Flag song. Any song you hear with a Rebel Flag, send me that.
Well, I have to tell you, the reason why I sent you a Doobie Brothers song, and I would say up until last week, I would tell you I don't know a single Doobie Brothers song. A friend of mine is working with Doobie Brothers now, invited me out to see their show last week, and I was blown away by how many songs that I went, oh, fuck, this is the Doobie Brothers? Like,
yeah, man.
I couldn't believe how many songs by the Doobie Brothers I actually knew, including this song, which goes right back to my childhood of being in summer camp, and I remember the camp counselors listening to the song. I sent you a song called Blackwater. Have you ever heard this song before?
Oh, of course I've heard Blackwater.
Really?
Oh, yeah, Blackwater, keep on moving, Mississippi Moon, gotta keep on shining on me. Yeah, I fucking love that. Dude, this is a great road trip song. This is definitely, both of these songs, respectively, are on a golf cart playlist that we play all the time.
No shit.
Fuck yeah, man. Love the Doobie Brothers, love Blackwater. It really was. This is like a great, listen to both these songs before the fucking show was great.
Wow.
5, give it a 5, right? 5 out of 5.
That's it. You're jumping right to the perfect score.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to break down? It's a fun fucking song. Catfish jumping. Fucking, you built a raft. That's the thing. This is one of those times where I never really read the lyrics until now, right? Yeah. And it's like the dude built a raft. He's going down the Mississippi on his fucking raft, and he's just having a good day. And he's like, you know what? If it rains, I'm just gonna drive into town. Fuck it, right? Just having it's just a great day off. Just a great day off. And the Mississippi Moon gonna keep on shining on him. And that's a great time. It's a
you know
good
what?
day.
When I was a kid, I thought that I want to hear some funky Dixieland, pretty mama gonna take me by the hand. I thought that was a separate song.
Got a hand, pretty mama gonna dance with your baby all night long. Like, yeah, fuck yeah.
I had no idea that was part of a longer song. That's a bridge. I thought that was a separate song on its own because I would hear camp counselors when I was a kid singing that song. I thought that in itself was a song. So I was blown away to hear them sing it live or perform it live and then have that middle bridge. And I was like, oh shit, that's just part of it. Wow. Because that in itself feels like a separate song. You know?
Yeah, man. I like that you kind of went to a show that I would go to. That's pretty dope.
Wow. Well, listen, if there's another Doobie Brothers show coming up that we're going to be close to, we got to go because my buddy that's out with them will hook it up. So you,
Brother Doobie, hooking it
gave
up.
that a 5 out of 5, which makes me proud. You sent me a Creedence Clearwater Revival song, which I know this song. It's not everybody knows this song.
Yeah.
It's a classic. I want to say it's been featured in tons of movies. Am I wrong?
Oh, you're absolutely right. The song is Up Around the Bend.
Up Around the Bend. From the beginning of the guitar, that boom. I knew the song. I'd never read the lyrics. I'm reading the lyrics and I'm like, there's a place up ahead and I'm going just as fast as my feet can fly.
Come away if you're going. Leave a sinking ship behind.
And
Come
then-
on and rise and win. Yeah, this is a great karaoke song too, by the way.
You know what?
It's a banger.
And I've been fucking up the lyrics for years. I'm reading the lyrics and I'm like, oh, it's Come on the Rise and Wind. Oh, wow. What was I singing? We're going up around the bend. And then I start reading it and I'm like, wait a minute. He says, catch a ride to the end of the highway and we'll meet by the big red tree. Okay. There's a place up ahead and I'm going. Come along with me. And I'm like, wait, what? Like some of it, when he says, you can ponder perpetual motion, fix your mind on a crystal day.
Yeah, crystal clear. Just a nice day.
Always time for good conversation. There's an ear for what I don't know. Some of it I was like, oh man.
I feel like the dude in this song would listen to the Doobie Brothers to where he got where he was going.
100%. And you know what? When you describe this as a song you listen to in a golf cart, I could absolutely hang with a day listening to these two songs. I would give this a 5 out of 5 for sure.
Man.
And you know what's weird? I would never call out Creedence Clearwater Revival as a band that I'm even a fan of. But when I hear this song, I'm like, oh, who doesn't love this song? I mean, it's just an easygoing song. Wow, we fucking nailed it, man. I don't know how many times we've actually gotten perfect scores from each other, but
zero times, 0 out of 5.
This is it? This is the first time?
This is the first time. Yeah, it's gotta be.
Wow. Well, there you go. 2 5s, man. That's
2 5s.
People. Where do people find you, Brian?
They can go to IllinoisCockburn.com.
All right, I'm going to have Shelly watch one of your sets and critique it, and I'm going to tell you what she didn't like about your stand-up comedy.
Show one of the sets where I'm talking about how dogs aren't people, and people that put dogs in shopping carts should be shot with a bazooka.
Perfect. You can find me at getgas.com, getgas with 2 S's.com. Brian and I are going to end up doing a few shows this year together where we're going to do Your Music Sucks Live, so come check us out. And Brian, we'll talk next week about George Carlin.
Yeah, and I love Shelly, for the record, and I would never do anything to her dogs.
Yeah, perfect. She'll be happy to hear that.
Yes.